No words or warnings are the first signs. Impact is loud, quick, and final. The strike targets a central Israeli residential structure, not a base or outpost. The walls collapse. Broken glass litters once normal rooms. Suddenly, civilian life is chaotic and shocking. Clear timing. Before the missiles, targeted executions shifted power. Calculations and trades are not random. Order is straightforward. When important Iranian officials die, the response is swift and accurate. Ability and continuity are shown by a tightening loop of action-response. Change is immediate. Years of secret operations, deniable strikes, and indirect pressure reveal the fight. Now attribution is evident. No more coded messages. Trajectories and impact zones indicate battlefields, not guesswork. This change is fundamental and operational. Escalation rules change. That alteration affects Ramat Gan. Casualties go beyond symbols. Only by being near can they fight. Strike disregards geography and tactics. The story changes when it lands. The discussion has surpassed deterrence and proportionality. It becomes civilian exposure with tactical and political consequences. The air raid siren sounds briefly. Technology and time are pressuring damage reduction infrastructure, including safe rooms, interception systems, and layered defenses. We stop most threats, but not all. Some enter. Others are at risk from deflections. Volume makes it hard to differentiate good from bad defenses. At the same moment, the Northern Front begins with the same strength, but different rhythm. Lebanon frequently launches rockets, patterned and long-lasting. Size matters. Due to multitudes of missiles, defensive systems must always be vigilant. Pressure is constant on the system. Effects accumulate. Israeli defenses include ranging interceptions, mid-course disruptions, and terminal protection. These layers don't last forever. They are designed for change, not overload. Pressure from the northeast forces the system to make theoretical decisions regarding priorities. Urban regions are under strain, creating uncertainty. Every siren presents unanswerable questions. Will it intercept? Will the trajectory change? And has the impact site been calculated? Conflict is frequent and has alarm and aftermath cycles. The working pattern is more structured outside the immediate effect zones. Attack timing isn't random. Cooperative waves inside overlapping windows reduce response time and make interception difficult. This is deliberate retaliation, not just violence. Beirut has a distinct pattern but similar consequences. Residential structures were targeted by precision strikes. Even with smaller bombs and more precise targets, the effect is significant. Eliminating one aim weakens structures. Costly for the environment. Dust storms in densely populated areas demonstrate tactical accuracy and urban density. Warnings keep bystanders away from the target before a strike. Time, trust, and city migration reduce the effectiveness of such warnings. It takes time to evacuate. No guarantee of compliance. Little time passes between warning and hit. A pattern connecting these incidents across places is emerging. The timing, response, and intensification of Israeli strikes, Lebanon rocket fire, and Beirut operations are linked. The struggle has expanded beyond one axis and actor. In this distributed network, nodes interact. Spreading creates new battlefields. State non-state actors operate in parallel, but not front lines. No visible leader is needed for coordination. Get everyone on the same page with their goals and coordinate implementation. Residents don't care about these layers. The amount of exposure matters. War is no longer rare. Homes, daily life, and the planet contain it. Psychological conflict increases with physical aggression, causing tension. Strategically, repercussions occur. Retaliation is operational and symbolic. Multiple actors can exert pressure on each other, worsening circumstances for everyone. Their opponent's system is robust, but multitasking weakens it. First shock is only apparent on surface. Existing escalation mechanism. Responses alter the following action. Structure, not luck, speeds up the cycle. In that concept, conflict evolves from rapid response to continuing involvement and from isolated occurrences to interwoven activities. Retaliatory strikes appear to provide a coordinated structure for political power, legal justification, and institutional response beyond the battlefield. Strike aftermath goes beyond impact zones and casualties. It enters legal, diplomatic, and state-justified force contexts. The exchange began with assassinations, not tactics. They are considered precursors, indications, and state behavior redefinitions. Legalizing targeted killing has long been controversial. War and terrorism are involved. That equilibrium alters when crucial state figures are removed. The question is no longer whether these operations work, if they breach the secret involvement to open conflict line. The issue is sovereignty. Removing a state actor from a strike attributed to another has far-reaching effects. Iran's response fits. Language serves a purpose. The strikes are justified by self-defense, not retribution. This difference matters. The legal environment makes military action comply with international standards instead of escalating matters without justification. Iran deems their murders war crimes, justifying them. This framing has another purpose. Outward interpretation is required. Legitimacy involves other governments, international organizations, and observers. Not just the fighters define the dispute anymore. Silence, support, or resistance from outside parties can affect court proceedings. Every answer enhances the allowable plot. Here, uncertainty is a strategy. There are numerous ways to view targeted killings because they may be illegal. Some believe the strikes are vital to counter threats. Some consider them a dangerous lack of escalating regulations. Divergences take time to repair. It shapes people's future beliefs. Confusion causes strife in Washington. The conflict's strategic effects are assessed against military and government goals. People wonder how the U.S. is involved, directly, indirectly, or in their minds. In modern conflict, perception can cause action. Whether it declares or not, the U.S.'s exposure changes if it participates. People discuss these issues publicly, public declarations, briefings, and resignations. A key government official resigns over the conflict's direction. Despite careful language, the resignation has huge implications. A time that needs unity becomes more dissonant. Resignation goes beyond quitting a job. Policies become ambiguous. Uncertain high-level consensus threatens decision-making. Notice allies, visible to enemies. Outside variables like internal division alter action and reaction interpretation. The political basis that supports leadership also erodes. Expectations about avoiding getting engaged in long-term foreign affairs are being tested. The fight appears to be expanding. This isolates policy from expectation, making agreement impossible. Legitimizing conflict and political response are similar. They influence each other. Legal arguments underpin action, but politics sustain or alter it. Decision-making is easier when they align. When they diverge, friction occurs. Officials' words indicate conflict. Well-written statements recognize the context and allow for flexibility, more typically utilizing proportionality, necessity, and defense. Each has international law significance and impacts perception. World dynamics are comparable. Allies respond differently. Some warn, some support, and some are impartial. Lack of homogeneity hinders public image. Different versions of the same events can also be told. These pieces expand the fight to legal and informational grounds. Legitimacy, not tactical advantage, is sought. Legitimacy affects current and future operations. Acceptable actions can set a precedent. The change is evident. The opening strikes were crucial, but they were only part of the war. Legal reasoning, political attitude, and institutional response compete above it. Two layers link. One's progress affects another. Conflict perception and behavior modification. No longer does missile landing or defensive reaction determine the definition. How actions are explained, accepted, and made law and policy matters. The battlefield extends to courts, legislatures, and international forums. As expansion continues, peripheral institutions are added. Interpretation, response, and consequential viewpoints are required. The conflict tests military and institutional strength. Pressure changes from immediate response to long-term appraisal, tactical execution to strategic alignment. Legal and political systems now consider future impacts. This adjustment does not end disagreement. It deepens. Ground operations continue, as do interpretation and reasoning. Every strike, answer, and comment builds a structure beyond the battlefield. Institutions matter in this system. They stopped watching. They participate by acting, agreeing, or declining. Their actions affect this and future conflicts. Legal positioning to operational response is immediate and coordinated. Military systems in the region are ready to use. Radar networks monitor patterns, not oddities. Overlapping sequences allow air defense batteries to strike targets at varying ranges and heights. Managing the sky involves missiles and their interceptors. This activation is global. It recruits neighboring states for defense. Gulf interception devices prevent drones and ballistic threats from reaching critical infrastructure. Rapid responses are normal. Interceptions demonstrate the conflict's growing operational range. Tempo matters. Interceptions occur frequently and constantly. Systems for episodic threats are needed. Damage is easier to perceive than pressure, yet both matter. Always prepared. We require real-time resource allocation. Every interaction reduces error. Israel adjusts under this situation. Targeting depth and accuracy change. In crowded cities, strikes are targeted killings, not bombings. Select portions of multi-story residential buildings. The purpose is impact control, yet the structure collapses. A removed load-bearing point can undermine the construction. This plan affects Beirut's appearance and function. Without broad targeting, removing one internal point pulls down entire organizations. Damaged buildings, infrastructure, and people moving swiftly influence the ecosystem. Impact is spread by accurate hits. It balances operational needs and escalation. Limited munitions indicate they wish to avoid random destruction. Working in congested cities boosts their impact. Practice makes it harder to distinguish targeted action from group impact. Meanwhile, Iran's response pattern strengthens. Retaliation shifts from missile assaults to orchestrated actions. Iran's missiles, Lebanon's rockets, and Gulf drones cooperated. This uncoordinated alignment builds pressure, acts as network. Each node loads the other in this network. Missile strikes boost air defense. Redistribution is needed during simultaneous rocket fire. Drone incursions expand engagement zones. Systemic tension, not breakthrough, is the goal. More vectors make defensive architecture evolve more regularly. Escalation changes with this method. Instead of one big activity, it is now defined by multiple simultaneous pressures, slow but long-lasting effects. Systems break down gradually. The peak of escalation and long-term pressure remain unclear. Operational dynamics accelerate while international institutions fail to respond. Western alliances have broken up. Unrelated statements exist. People make promises but don't always follow through. Capability differs from willingness. NATO reflects this difference most. Legal, government, and political perspectives inform member nations' conflict analysis. Some say involvement is key to strategic balance. Some worry they'll lose the fight. Result: uncertain. People consider decisions rather than acting quickly. This uncertainty affects operations. Ununited people make it tougher to exhibit power or secure the group. Unclarity influences current and future decisions. Long-term wars won't work without immediate alignment. The divide goes beyond formal connections. Bilateral, regional, and informal coordinating networks show it. Actors shift their stances dependent on what the country needs, risk, and ability. Gradual divergence diminishes community. As this difference becomes clearer, it affects other conflict parties. Intervention is less likely without outside coordination. All calculations vary. Activities previously confined by coordinated reaction might now be driven by different expectations. Institutional fragmentation encourages operational escalation. Political organizations must coordinate more military engagement. Not cooperating worsens things. The system becomes increasingly sophisticated as each strengthens the other. However, the impacts stretched beyond military and political engagement. World energy, trade, and logistical systems depend on interceptions, strikes, and defenses. Military pressure in certain places changes these systems' risk profile. Shipping routes worry me. Better airspace control. More uncertainty makes insurance costs harder to calculate. They're responses to fragmentation and escalation. Systems are always in demand, coordination is low, and pressure is strong. The fight now involves more than famous actors. Each military, political, and economic system affects others in real time. Ununified command changes escalation, not hinders it. Without coordinated decision-making, various routes appear. Crossing, splitting, and reuniting makes things difficult to govern and fix. Growing routes directly alter world-stabilizing processes, causing stress. Important and easy to break, institutional response fragmentation affects the economy. Pressure on political and military systems grows. It slowly but firmly enters global financial stability. The transfer occurs in the limited but vital commerce waterway of the Strait of Hormuz. Although little, it is quite important. This corridor links Gulf oil producers to global consumers. A lot of global oil passes through here. Users rarely see it working, thus it's hardly obvious. Fighting restores visibility. The surrounding area worsens, adding to its continuity. Risk goes beyond shutting. Uncertainty defines it. Markets anticipate change. People sense price system risk as missile launches, drone interceptions, and naval positions proliferate along the strait. Oil prices move because supply may cut but hasn't. Geography evolves swiftly. Events help traders predict the future. A strike near critical infrastructure, a drone shot down over shipping channels, or a limit-setting statement are all inputs into an expectation-based system. Prices are shifting more and spreads are bigger. Therefore, uncertainty is valued. Insurance markets behave similarly. Shipping through unsafe places costs extra to reduce risk, not as punishment. When war seems imminent, war risk premiums rise. Shipping company calculations are concrete. This impacts route selection, scheduling, and operation feasibility. Some ships cost more to pass. Some prolong or vary their journey to discover safer ones. Every decision alters global trade. Delays are increasing. Supply chains can withstand friction. The system works but is less efficient, more expensive, and more likely to break down. State actors become more important. The strait has been safeguarded by regional and international collaboration. Naval patrols, surveillance, and coordinated responses prevented problems. Congruence and believability are needed for deterrence. Early institutional fragmentation has economic repercussions, as shown. The U.S. forms a naval coalition to maintain shipping. It's important to convey that the passage will remain open and that any interference will be coordinated. Former allies haven't performed as expected. Key partners don't want to participate because they disagree with Washington legally, politically, or strategically. Without an initial commitment, the initiative's image alters. A previously understood communal guarantee becomes a one-sided effort with undetermined results. This is known by the markets. Financial systems benefit from big power coordination. Risk is dispersed and controlled by strong alignment. When alignment weakens, risk concentrates and is harder to predict. Reluctance from allies makes stabilizing action harder. Leaders' statements worsen this ambiguity. Calls for participation can occur alongside non-help claims. Confidence and frustration are present. Watchers get a confusing signal. Is the situation under control or changing in ways that are unclear? Markets provide answers. Banks, shipping, and energy companies change models. Scenario planning now includes low-probability outcomes. Backup plans are reviewed, changed, and sometimes implemented. Operational baseline includes preparation costs. In general, structural dependency exists. Some global economic choke points channel flow through narrow channels. The Strait of Hormuz is crucial. When a point is unstable, effects spread through many system layers. Energy prices affect currency markets. Higher inflation forecasts affect import-dependent economies. Exporters adjust their profit forecasts. Energy market volatility can cause inflation and make monetary policy harder to follow, so central banks monitor it. Military action is increasingly affecting finances. Missile launches now predict the economy. Shooting down a drone is a defensive win and a warning. Political, military, and financial lines are blurring. Choke points change as these things happen. Limiting space is no longer its only purpose. This quitte d'oeuvre can alter prices, policies, and perceptions in a larger system. Controlling such a point requires assurance that it will work, not just be there. Confidence increases and weakens. It relies on stable, coordinated signals. Trust declines when military action and political disagreement occur simultaneously. Markets don't crash, they adjust and become cautious. This recalibration is temporary. Short-term volatility masks long-term change. Uncertainty will affect investment plans, infrastructure construction, and supply chain innovation. System adaptation is costly and time-consuming. The strait is open now. Oil flows, ships pass, and deals are made. Activity context has changed. Every move now considers risk and disruption. Continuous possibility has changed normal, not closure. Moving between events is one possibility. Military escalation is a systemic pressure point among geography, economics, and strategy. These implications will impact future perceptions and interactions with AOT, even after the conflict ends. Continuing escalation, legal ambiguity, and institutional divergence indicate a global, order-changing transformation. For decades, alignment has been crucial. Mutual commitments, coordinated responses, and authority underpin alliances. That model is disintegrating. States no longer cooperate. They align based on what they want now, not what they owe later. The overlapping but inconsistent blocks can change depending on the situation. One area can coordinate but not another. Conditional participation replaces predictable alliance behavior. This redefines targeted killings. In the past, these actions were rare and only allowed in certain situations. Their use in senior leadership raises the bar. Tactical elimination and strategic destabilization are difficult to distinguish when targeting state figures. This raises the action bar. It makes leaders weak even when not fighting. Effects go beyond the immediate participants. Other states use the precedent to make strategic decisions. What was rare becomes feasible. Global risk changes with this doctrine's normalization. Leaders, command structures, and decision-makers become abnormal targets. Security protocols alter offensive strategies. Both sides exploit the new deterrence and vulnerability rules. Meanwhile, NATO and other alliances are showing signs of stress. Conflict diverges due to fundamental differences in threat perception, legal interpretation, and strategic prioritization. Disagreements make it hard to command during active conflict. The same coordinated response to future events may not exist. National interests may replace alliance obligations in participant selection. This alters alliances but doesn't eliminate them. Instead of automatic alignment, they become consultation platforms. Military operations change simultaneously. Distributed pressure, which activates several fronts involving state and non-state players, is effective in the ongoing conflict. One combat is not needed for this model. Pressure is used across numerous domains to force the opposing system into constant responsiveness through istimrar. Proxy actors run this framework. Their acts boost state authority without being explicitly tied to them. This increases flexibility and complexity. To handle many threats, responses must consider their unique interactions. The battlefield is dispersed among roles and locations. This expansion is transitory. Conflict goes beyond set start and finish timeframes. It varies in strength but rarely leaves. Unresolved tensions induce mood swings. The boundary between battle and peace blurs. Controlling pressure, not avoiding disagreement, maintains stability. Systems solve problems, not prevent them. This alters conceptual order. Baseline instability exists. Global governance is greatly affected. Institutions designed for single occurrences now operate on a etanav. Frequent responses reduce decision-making time. Coordination becomes difficult as active variables increase. Here, coherence dictates influence. Economic impacts are significant. Market volatility is manageable, but long-term uncertainty affects resource allocation, investment, and supply chains. Strategic industries as energy, logistics, and defense are crucial for smooth operations and profit under ZOT. Over time, these modifications will alter structure. New routes, alliances, and safety precautions. Unstable planning, yet stress changes systems. As efficiency drops, resilience rises. This trend combination creates a permanent new operational environment. Power comes from activity, connections, and organizational position. Control involves managing multiple encounters, not just one. Conflict is a turning moment. It reveals coordination hidden vulnerabilities. Already moving trends accelerate. It shows how quickly events may propagate in real time. These modifications must be understood and accepted by observers and participants. Stable alliances, defined ITAUT, and predictable escalation pathways may not enough. New frameworks must address fragmentation, change speed, and multi-level conflict integration. Now that coordination is no longer expected, what maintains order? Power spreads through overlapping networks, raising the question, how do states prevent battlefield devastation without defined lines? The issues are real. They influence high-level judgments because they are real. Ultimora 24 seeks to understand structures, and the new structure suggests negotiated stability. This is a power shift, not just another fight. The world is watching targeted executions and shattered alliances change the rules live. For concise explanations of international power, conflicts, and markets, follow Ultimora 24 to stay current. Is a new world order coming?